Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Sophie of Sophie Knits. I talk about mostly knitting and spinning here. I haven't talked about sewing in a while, so I feel as though I kind of can't even mention it. I am going to try and do some sewing though at some point soon. And this is podcast episode 5, I believe. The first thing that I wanted to do in this podcast episode is share who the winner of the giveaway for the Loom Wool giveaway was. I announced that in my last knitting podcast and had said that it would run up until the point that I filmed this knitting podcast. So yes, I have a little list of names on my laptop and I'm going to let that run now so that we have our winner. So I think I'm just going to call you Mouth as one. I will drop you a message also so that you know that you have won. And we just need to communicate with one another about how to ship it to you. I do have an email address, but I'll make sure to leave that in the comment to you as well. So yes, I just thought that was exciting to do first, and it's a really lovely thing to line up to be doing today because the channel's hit 1,000 subscribers, which is just amazing. I am really enjoying being part of the knitting community on YouTube. I've been part of the book community on YouTube for a really long time, and I think for my life at the moment, the knitting community is just the right pace. I love that uploads happen like once a month, sometimes less often than that, and there's not it's a slow craft, right? There's not kind of the need to be constantly producing stuff to kind of feel relevant, as long as you're kind of enjoying your crafting life. So yes, it's really exciting to have reached 1,000 subscribers. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed. It means a lot. And if you've watched any of these videos and enjoyed them and haven't yet subscribed, consider it, because it does make a difference to like the channel and other people finding it. And yeah, I'm small enough that I still see like every single person who joins. So yeah, know that you are appreciated. Anyway, enough of that. Hopefully that was some good news. I wanted to share a normal knitting podcast format with you today. So if we start with finished objects, these first ones I have are very special for me. So these are just a pair of self-drafted fingerless gloves that are knitted and hand spun. So that's what they look like on, and yeah, they're just dead simple. They're literally just, I didn't really even need a pattern, it was one of those. But yeah, it's literally just a couple bits of ribbing down the bottom, then the body, a tube, a little thumb gusset, and then just some contrast ribbing at the top. And this was actually spun up in merino with some sari silk, recycled sari silk, from the Lace Knittery. They do like these little tiny teeny merino samples. So this isn't even 50 grams. I think this was like 42 grams of fibre. But I think they're pretty, and it's the first thing I've ever knitted with my own hand spun, and I thought it was great fun. I think it was quite an interesting one to knit up, you can probably see, but because of the sari silk, it's definitely got like big slubby bits in it. In fact, I think when I named it on Ravelry, I called it like merino and sari silk slubby. So that's kind of interesting to see how that's come out. But I'm really happy with them. I think that it's really fun that I've managed to knit something that I've spun, and yeah, it gives me great excitement to kind of start my sweater spin knit. I'm not sure which pattern I'm going to use yet. I'm going to gauge swatch. I'm almost certainly going to do stockinette. And I'm waiting on some, I think I got Knitting for Olive, silk mohair. What do they call it? The Knitting for Olive, the soft silk mohair. Yeah, so I've bought myself some mohair that matches really nicely with the natural colour of that one. And I'm really excited to be able to swatch that and try and start knitting it. I definitely want to knit that this year, but I thought to help me understand what the process of knitting with hand spun was like, they were a really good little project. And they were a bit like a dopamine cast on. I've just been knitting a lot of accessories recently and really been enjoying it. The only other finished object I have for you is this one here, which is the Victoria Shawl by Sari Nordland. If I just tie it round and show you. And this one is actually a gift knit. So this is going to be for a friend of my husband's who is getting married in November, and I just thought it'd be nice to get her and her wife-to-be a little hand knit each. So it blocked out really prettily. I don't know whether you would have seen my like knit with me video where I kind of showed making this one, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. I knitted this one in Cheshire Yarns single ply in the colour Peacock Feather, which is like a tonal. It's just really pretty, and yeah, the single ply I think just means it's so soft. It's merino, so it's going to be soft anyway, but the single ply just means it feels really delicate and beautiful, and I think, yeah, that's very appropriate for like wedding gifts. So that is my only other finished object. And then works in progress. So there are a few things going on at the minute. I still have the pair of socks that I'm knitting at work, but I haven't got those to show you today. And then I have another pair of vanilla socks here that I'm just working my way through. So that's what the yarn looks like. Hopefully you can see it. And this one is Pebbles on a Beach by Bird Street Yarn. And this is just the standard sock yarn. And that's all I've knitted. I haven't started the other sock yet. This is really like when Tom's driving, or if I know I'm going somewhere where I really just need to like knit and not really think. I'll take these. I'm probably going to take these with me to my mum's later on today, because we're going on a little walk to a nearby pub. So that means it'll be in the carrier, so I can knit whilst I go. So yeah, I can knit stockinette socks as I walk around. So they're my like properly travel friendly project. And then I don't think I even cast this one on last time I talked to you. So I am knitting, this is just the very beginning, it's all a bit crumpled on the needle, sorry you can't really see it, and the dark yarn, but this is going to be the Cinema sweater by Kudabakika. So I've just done the collar and then folded it and sewn it down, and I'm just increasing in the round with my raglan now. Dark yarn is so hard to show, isn't it? It just is like a void. But yeah, so I've been knitting on this one. There's a bit of a story to this. So I gauge swatched for this one and didn't come up with the right gauge. And I was like, I've had this one on the list for a while. I wonder whether this gets gauged for anything I've liked more recently. So I had a little look through and kind of had a look at what matched up. And the thing that matched up was the Twiggy dress. And I was so excited because knitting a dress had been on my list. It was on my Make 9. It was like the first thing I was like, I really want to do that this year. It's actually said cast on rather than fully knit. But yeah, so I was like, yeah, I'm going to knit the Twiggy dress. I'm perfectly on gauge. So I started, and then very quickly was like, oh, this is a slip stitch pattern. So the description on Ravelry doesn't say the gauge is like in pattern, and I didn't see that it was a slip stitch pattern from looking at the project picture. So I actually wasn't on gauge. So when I'd knitted and then had to rip it back because I wasn't on gauge, and then tried going up one needle size and was like, that'll be fine. Started again, still wasn't on gauge. Then was like, fine, I'll do gauge swatches. So then did 3 gauge swatches to kind of figure out where I was at and how far off I was. And none of them got gauged. So I was at least 2 stitches too high in one size and at least 2 stitches too many in another. So yeah, it just wasn't going to work. I tried to make it work. I actually tried to do some pattern math and like reverse engineer it, but the size, by like increasing sizes and doing some like modifications, but the sizing of the back didn't change substantially as the sizes that I would be considering for the bust circumference with the adjusted gauge would make. So I ended up with a back that was way too short. So I'd knit the back panel, not all of it, but like probably half the back panel, and then was like, this isn't working, and I don't think this is going to work in a way that I will be still following this pattern. I think I would be rewriting the pattern, and I decided that that was not something that I could commit to. And I think at that point I was just getting frustrated with the yarn, and I was like, do you know what, you just want to be a cinema sweater. So yeah, I have cast this one on, which was the original plan for it. And I'm sure I will love it. Like, I think this is going to be just such a workhouse piece in my wardrobe. But knitting on this one, which is very straightforward, it's literally just a raglan and it just goes round and round and round. And also only having a stockinette sock, I was like, I'm getting a little bit itchy in that that's a lot of stockinette in the round. So I have, it's not even really a whip, it's I guess a gauge swatch, and it's like the tiniest gauge swatch in the world. So last night I decided I needed a gauge swatch for something else that was just a bit more involved, so that I had something that I could work my brain around. and I've decided to knit the flirty. Now this is the tiny swatch that I made. So here it is. That's my gauge swatch. I did it actually in the round. How proud of myself am I? I normally do it flat, but I did do it in the round because it specifically said in the round, and I got gauge perfectly. So yeah, my gauge both in terms of rows and in terms of stitches is perfect. So I think that's meant to be, and I think the pattern's gonna be really pretty. This is Knitting for Olive Pure Silk, and I actually haven't cast it on yet because I needed to knit it and then wash it and dry it to check my gauge. So yeah, I haven't got it cast on, but I have the tiniest swatch, and I was lazy. I could have like done it more, but as I was working I was like, this is exactly on gauge, so I thought what I'd do is just pause, like block it, measure it, and if it was still perfectly on gauge, then I didn't need to faff around and do anything else with it. I did enough, like I did more than a quarter, if that makes sense. I probably did about a third of what the size of the swatch would have been. It's in the round, so it always looks a bit funny. And it was exactly spot on. So I felt really proud of that, and that's with 2.5mm needles. So those are going to be my whips that I'm going to be working my way through. I actually don't think I have any acquisitions that you haven't already seen in other videos. I've been pretty good with my yarn buying recently. My husband was like, do you think maybe we have like nearly enough yarn in the house at the moment? And he is so supportive of me like following my joy wherever it goes. I was like, I think he's probably right that I'm acquiring stuff beyond the level that I can like knit it up at. So I've been trying to keep it like a little bit slower on the yarn that's coming in. I am going to be going to Unravel Festival in Unravel Autumn in September. I'm planning on going on the Saturday, so if you're there, come and say hello if you see me. So I suspect I'll have some stuff coming in at that point, though I'm going to try and focus on fibre if I can. And I also know that at the end of this year I have a Christmas Advent that I have purchased for the first time. I'm very excited, so I know I'm going to have an Advent quantity of yarn coming in as well. So I think I'm just trying to be a little bit restrained with my purchasing. The purchases I have made this month have been other sort of knitting adjacent things. So I did get a knitting t-shirt from the Crea Bear. I'll put a little clip in so that you can see me opening that one. And I also got from Oxford Yarn Store just like some, where are they? Might be in my sock bag. Just some gold stitch markers. So nothing like mega exciting, right? But just like useful little things. And I also got a copy of Lane magazine, which I read my way through. But yeah, so I haven't had any yarn acquisitions or fibre acquisitions that you haven't already seen, which I'm quite proud of. So it is a fairly short update today, but I just wanted to check in, and I really wanted to be able to announce the giveaway winner. I think it's exciting, and yeah, I'll figure out how to ship it over its way to you. And hopefully you've enjoyed this video. I am just really liking being part of this community and filming, and how relaxed it all feels. So yes, thank you for having me, and thank you for choosing to spend some time here. Let me know in the comments down below what you're working on at the minute or what you're planning on casting on, and I'll see you guys again soon in my next video. Bye!